Six Sages Gaming is brought to you by GamersGauntlet.net. Check them out for all your single, sealed product, and playmats.
Hey guys, welcome to another Six Sages Gaming unboxing and product review. So if you guys didn't hear about it, MegaCorp is this game that launched at Gen Con, and it was absolutely a blast to play. We were able to pick up one of each of the starters, and it's on Kickstarter right now. So if you guys really like the product, you like what you see, make sure you check out the Kickstarter. I'll put a link in it below. And what's really awesome, what they're doing right now, is since they're fully funded, so you can definitely back with confidence, they're giving any Kickstarter package over $88 one of these fancy metal cards for free. Normally these are $100, and they act as your business, which I'll go over in a little bit, but I mean, it's actually pure solid metal. I have mine in a sleeve just because it does collect fingerprints pretty easily, and I don't want to have to clean it every time, but these things are absolutely amazing, and they get played in multiple decks, so that's also something to consider. So up first, we're going to cover the Raamaa Incarnate deck. If I had to attribute this to any other card game I possibly could, or any color identity, it plays similar to Golgari in Magic the Gathering. This deck is all about mutations, meaning you gotta either consume your own guys or you're playing things out of the graveyard. It has this very, power up your guys through self-harm or ruining your own resources. So I already have it open, but when you open the box, you'll see that it has 3 different backs. It has these green backs, which are your resources, which I'll go into in a little bit. It has these blue-backed cards, which are your main deck. And then lastly, your 2 red cards, which are your business and your founder. So we'll go ahead and start with those. And again, this is just going to be a very, very high-level overview, just to get you guys looking at what the art is going to be like and getting that better idea. So this is your business. Everyone starts with 1, and they're all vanilla. You'll see that this is the Incarnate. You can tell by the symbol and both by the logo, and by comparison, this is the Corp, and it has the same stats, the same business. And essentially what this is you start the game with 10 million, I want to say 10 million money, but 10 million health is really what it is. And each 4 of these icons down here, and reading left to right, it's intelligent quotient, emotional quotient, moral quotient, and body quotient. And this deck mostly focuses around green, so I'm just going to say blue, red, white, green. And this is a green deck. This starts off in the center, and it basically you build around your business. You're trying to protect your business, you're trying to increase your cash flow, things of that nature. So if you haven't already, check out the Kickstarter. They kind of have a how to play and a higher level overview. I really just want to highlight the cards for you guys so you can see some of the artwork of what you're going to get. So this is Raamaa herself. You can't really make a direct comparison to a commander in EDH, but that's kind of what it is. This is your leader, this is your guy who's going to be running your business. There's 1 per deck. It stays out. You get it at the beginning of the game. If it goes to the graveyard, sure, you can buy it back for the 6 million cost, but again, I had mentioned you only have 10 million to work with, so you take a huge hit if somehow they get rid of this easily. The other thing to note is, as I was mentioning, mutations, Annihilate. So basically the whole thing about Raamaa is you're going to sacrifice your board to her to get her a very, very strong body quotient that people just can't interact with. So this is definitely a deck that it's more of a mid-range control type build that you want to just build up this card into the point where your opponent just cannot overcome her stats. Going to the main deck itself, and again, I'm not going to be going over a lot of these. I might just call out a few and the different abilities that they have. So again, 3 million, it costs 3 resources that you got to produce by engaging is what it's called, so you just turn your guys upside down. The thing I really like about this one is it's permanent damage. Usually it'll heal, but essentially you put a token of damage on your opponent's, whichever item that you attacked on their board. It could be resource, it could be a creature, it could be an equipment, or it could be their leader if it got that far as well. But I'm just go through a couple of these. If you'll notice, it'll say upkeep 1 million. This is exactly like an upkeep cost in Magic that you got to pay 1 million or 1 health every turn. But again, keep in mind you have this resource deck, which is going to be giving you resources every single turn. So some of these are just going to be your vanilla, kind of creatures, kind of the bulk of the deck. And the thing that I've got to say that I really absolutely love the artwork, and that's immediately what drew me into it. So again, this one, by comparison, is just a vanilla creature. Absolutely nothing on it other than just some basic stats and cost 2 million. So here's one of those event cards, biological mutation. So again, you're kind of putting these either equipment or you're casting these one-time spells that are going to be able to buff one of your characters. Or again, with Raamaa, you're basically just trying to feed the Raamaa and, go all in. Power armor, so has bond, which is a lot like your actual additions or equipments where you're actually putting it on the card. So sometimes cards either go underneath the card and then you have to add adds whatever that stat might be, or they go next to it and say that I'm going to be able to protect both of these cards adjacent to it. So placement is very, very important in this game as well. One of the things I really liked is there's these crisis events. And anytime you play a crisis, your opponent gets to look for an event as well. So this is Tidal Wave. And long story short, this can do damage in columns at a time, and it does for 3. So if your opponent's low or if you have a bunch of weak creatures on the board, you're going to be able to cast this one spell and wipe them out. Now again, it's the only one that's in the deck. Obviously for constructed play, you might have a few more. Here's just another example of a crisis event, stock market crash, devalue the items of a lot of stuff. So these crisis events are very, very strong, but again, they do have a drawback. So it's kind of I'm going to use this as a last resort to hopefully either even the board state or win on the spot because you absolutely need to. And then the other thing to note, you'll kind of notice up here as we've been going through, some of them are gold, silver, or a very darker color, which I don't know what to call it. No, those are all silver. It's really like a gray. Those are different rarities. And obviously your leader had a purple one because there's only one of them usually that are in the deck when you play, or at least when you get all these. So they have the different rarities that way as well. Here's a card that I really like, and it gives you an idea of how this game really plays out. It has a 2x2 attack, so again, keep in mind you're trying to build essentially a 3x3 square, and your business is in the very middle of it. So really what this does, it gets to attack several guys each turn. Now, keep in mind it does have an upkeep cost, so that's something that you have to pay each turn, and it does have a 3 million cost. You have to pay a couple different attributes, so it's a little bit harder to get out there. But it's also very, very weak in intelligence quotient. So the way the battle works in this game is you can fight anyone on any 4 of these stats unless it has this little dash mark, then they cannot battle on that. So for body quotient, it's, or BQ, it's very, very strong. I'll tell you right now, 3 is very strong. But if someone tries to intercept it with an intelligence quotient or IQ, they're able to outsmart the bullet ant. So that's something to keep in mind and how they balance the different factions and the different cards. So if it has a 0, someone could just obviously IQ it and destroy it fairly easily. But again, body quotient is where this... Body quotient is basically where this entire deck lives. A lot of them do have a specific theme to them. So again, this one, you'll see that it has 3 BQ for a resource. Disruptor is basically trample, which is insanely strong in this game. So if you see something with Disruptor, definitely keep that in mind as a card that you want to be on the lookout for and to keep in mind for when you're building your deck. Oh, sorry, there's four of these come in the deck. Natural Death event, just again, it's another instant basically for Magic, play at any time. Another event, just a couple more. Hydraulic Acid, mutation event. And then again, this is permanent damage that it gets, but then it does get some kind of effect to it. So the game definitely has other parts of removal. Some of them can be good, some of them can be bad. And this is just another event that you can pay. And, someone will notice that say bound a target, you can pay to move it. So that's another way that you can use your resources to pump up your guys or affect your opponents. So then of course you're kind of wondering how we get all these resources. How do we not die? How are we getting health every turn? And that's where the resource deck comes into play. So I should explain. When you're playing the game, basically you start with this on the board and you flip over 1 resource a turn. And you get to play that resource for free. Or not for free if it has a cost, but you get to play that resource for that turn. Now if it has cash flow, that basically means you're getting 1 life or 1 million every single turn. However, it does have an initial cost, so it does take a couple turns for this to really get going. On top of that, they have these icons at the bottom, which again you can engage and produce those stats or those resources to play other cards from your hand. Now the thing that's really interesting about MegaCorp is that anytime a card is engaged, means turns upside down, your opponent can buy it from you. Now again, they're going to take 2 million to have to buy it, but then they can prevent you from getting that 1 million cash flow. And I know that might seem interesting and it might seem a little confusing at first, but it's one of those things where you have to really balance it and figure out what you want to do with your next turn versus what you can buy from your opponent. So it does create this very much a chess-like game. So just going through some of the resources really quick. So cash flow, this gives you 1 million and an attribute to use, but it costs 4 million. So this one is a little bit more expensive. Here's one of the free ones I was mentioning. So your resource deck is 20 cards. You want to make sure you keep in balance how many of each card that you're going to be running. And I'm kind of taking these 2 at a time because there's so many of them, because obviously you want to play the free one so you can actually get your cash flow going again. Here we go. And then here's the last one that I showed. So there's only 3 different types, 0, 2, or 4 million. They have a different effect for each one of them. They have different resources that they can produce. But ultimately you want to have some kind of balance with them in the deck. So this was just a really quick run through of the Raamaa Incarnate deck. Again, this deck focuses a lot on body quotient. It has a lot of mutation effects, a lot of ways to help grow your guys. So if you like that kind of playstyle, definitely kickstart one of these. I'll make sure to include a link in the description. So unfortunately, probably won't be doing any playtesting videos with it. We just won't have the time, but at least wanted to show you guys the different decks. So we'll have a video up for each one. So make sure to check out the other videos so you can learn what the other decks do. Try to put up 2 a week. And again, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe for all future content. We're going to be doing some other card games pretty soon. But again, make sure you check out this awesome game on Kickstarter. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time on Six Sages Gaming. Have a good one.
Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit that like button and leave us a comment with what you thought of the video. Don't forget to subscribe to Six Sage Gaming and check out some of the deck spotlights, duel series, and Force of Community videos that are already on the channel. We also have a Facebook and a Twitter, so feel free to find us there. Lastly, if you have a deck that you would like featured in a video, be sure to drop us a comment below. Until next time, take it easy.